His parents were in show business, so he grew up around broadcasting and TV. When the family lived in New York, they often took him to plays and musicals. He did his first play at age 10 in 1965, and that's when everything started for him. But behind the scenes of Let's Make a Deal, something far more shocking was happening, something Monty Hall's family hid for decades. His daughter Sharon, who was only 12 at the time, witnessed the whole thing. She has finally revealed the truth about her father's secret door knowledge system. Monty wasn't just the host. He controlled every part of the show. Sharon described secret signals, hidden cameras, and staged reactions that fooled millions. The truth changed the way fans saw the show forever. Many now call it one of the biggest betrayals in TV history. Monty Hall was born Monty Halperin on August 25, 1921, in a tiny, worn-out house in Winnipeg's North End. His father, Maurice, had immigrated from Ukraine and ran a kosher slaughterhouse just to keep food on the table. Winters were so cold that he sometimes had to butcher animals in the backyard to survive. Their neighborhood was full of Eastern European immigrants trying to rebuild their lives after World War I. The Halperins lived in one crowded house with cousins, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. The noise never stopped, and the work never ended. By age 5, Monty was already helping his father keep the business alive. He delivered meat on a bicycle in freezing temperatures. The cold was harsh, but it taught him toughness and quick thinking. His mother, Rose, was the opposite of the brutal butcher shop life. She was a neat, warm, respected former schoolteacher who organized community events and encouraged Jewish families to stay connected to their roots. Even when there wasn't much food, she welcomed neighbors for long Shabbat dinners. She believed in giving, even when she had almost nothing. Monty watched how her kindness changed people, and it stayed with him forever. When he was 10, something changed again. His parents took him to a vaudeville show, and he lit up. He started imitating performers at home, practicing voices, gestures, and timing. His father hated it and wanted him to take over the slaughterhouse someday, but Monty couldn't stand the sight or smell of it. At school, he joined debates and plays. Some kids bullied him for being Jewish, but he stood his ground. At 12, he was already earning small money from local radio, enough to help buy groceries. It gave him a taste of a better life. At 14, he made it into St. John's High School. He loved zoology, but radio pulled him in more. He even built his own transmitter and wrote comedy sketches for student broadcasts. At one synagogue event, his performance impressed businessman Max Fried, who offered him a full scholarship, a rare opportunity for a Jewish boy at the time, when schools quietly limited Jewish admissions. Monty never forgot that kindness. After high school, he still had to work in the butcher shop for 2 years to save money for college. He worked 14-hour days and sometimes slept inside the shop to avoid paying rent. By 1943, he finally saved enough to attend the University of Manitoba. He studied chemistry and zoology, but the real lesson was survival. Monty wanted to be a doctor, but medical schools had hidden Jewish quotas, usually under 5%. Even with good grades, he was rejected. A dream collapsed without explanation. Instead of giving up, Monty pivoted. If he couldn't become a doctor, maybe he could heal people through laughter. He returned to comedy and radio. During World War II, his satirical radio sketches became popular. He wasn't drafted because butcher shops were essential to the food supply, so he balanced 2 lives, cutting meat by day, entertaining the public by night. In 1944, his father offered him the slaughterhouse. It was safe and reliable. But Monty refused. "I'll make deals with words, not knives," he said. His family didn't understand, but he knew it was time to take a chance. Fried continued to support him financially. Meanwhile, Monty learned poker, how to bluff, how to read people. He later said this skill helped him host Let's Make a Deal because every contestant had tells. After graduating in 1945, he got his first radio job at CKRC. He made weather reports funny, and listeners loved him, but the pay was terrible. He still had to work part-time as a butcher. That year taught him that talent wasn't enough, you had to grind until someone noticed.
By 1946, he was hosting live talent nights. His ability to calm nervous performers came from watching his mother charm people at community events. Crowds adored him. He moved to Toronto, got hired by CFRB, and became Monty Hall. Management said his real name sounded too ethnic. When they refused to pay him fairly, he simply walked out. It taught him he was never afraid of starting over. In 1948, when a station strike froze his salary, he went on air and joked that he needed help. Listeners sent money. He raised $200 in minutes, enough to survive for months. That day, he realized how strong a bond he had with his audience. Around that time, he married Marilyn Bergerer. She edited his scripts, pushed him, and believed in him. They lived in a tiny apartment but dreamed big. In 1949, he mocked Canadian politicians on air, and sponsors threatened to pull ads. He almost lost everything. Instead of hiding, he apologized openly for a week. The honesty saved his job. By 1950, he moved to New York with only $1,000. He walked the city every day looking for work. Eventually, he landed a spot on Your Show of Shows. In 1951, when a guest froze on air, Monty stepped in and saved the moment. Sid Caesar thanked him personally, and Monty realized he could shine under pressure. In 1952, NBC gave him Dr. IQ, a live quiz show. One small mistake got him fired. It almost ended his career, but he used the setback to grow. He began thinking like a producer. He helped shape Beat the Clock and pushed fun stunts that boosted ratings. But it strained his marriage. He was rarely home. By 1955, he worked on Video Village, calming children on live TV. His ability to handle chaos became legendary. He met producer Stefan Haytos in 1954, and together they explored wild game show ideas. One stunt injured a contestant and got their show cancelled, but they didn't quit. In 1956, Monty gambled everything. He mortgaged his house to make a demo reel of himself improvising deals on the street. Actor Danny Thomas saw it and invited him on to make room for Daddy. That mortgage changed Monty's life. By 1963, he pitched Let's Make a Deal over lunch, sketching the concept on a napkin. 3 doors, zonks, excitement. NBC thought it was silly but agreed to a pilot. Monty personally chose contestants and kept the crew energized with free salami sandwiches. When the show premiered on December 30, 1963, 10 million people tuned in. Monty added spontaneous raises to cash offers, making every episode unpredictable. Behind the scenes, though, he memorized what was behind every door. He used this information to guide contestants without them knowing. He admitted this publicly only in the 1990s, and fans were shocked. In 1964, he hired Marilyn as producer. She added goats, costumes, silly props, and even won an Emmy. They fought constantly, but the show got better. NBC complained in 1965 that the show was too chaotic. Monty responded by putting a man in a banana suit on camera, cementing the show's identity. In 1968, NBC cancelled the show, so Monty took it to ABC with even more outlandish stunts, including a runaway donkey. By 1974, he'd hosted over 3,000 episodes. Most contestants lost, but he made sure they left feeling good, often slipping them $50. His psychology skills softened disappointment. The Monty Hall problem, the famous puzzle about switching doors, came from this era. Statisticians argued endlessly about it. In 1976, he moved the show to Vegas. A power outage once shut everything down, and Monty filled 20 minutes with jokes until the lights came back. Only Monty could do that. In 1990, the Monty Hall problem went mainstream. Monty himself explained that the show used psychology, not math, to shape decisions. By 1975, he earned $1 million a year. But lawsuits followed, slipped contestants, chaotic stunts. He adjusted the show but kept the fun alive. In 1984, the show returned. His daughters helped design it. Family became part of the production, making it more personal. Monty and Marilyn stayed married for nearly 70 years. A false scandal in 1965 nearly broke them, but they fought through it. Marilyn died in 2017, and Monty passed away 4 months later. Their children all succeeded: Joanna on Broadway, Richard as a producer, and Sharon as a TV executive who eventually revealed the long-guarded secrets behind the door system. At home, Monty held deal nights for his kids with fake prizes, teaching them negotiation and confidence. In 1976, just as the show was ending, Monty was dragged into congressional hearings about game show rigging scandals from the 1950s. Let's Make a Deal wasn't involved, but networks panicked. Monty testified that nothing was ever fixed and that contestants made every choice themselves. His honesty protected his reputation even as ABC cancelled the show. Years later, the Monty Hall problem took over classrooms, turning Monty into a figure of mathematical debate. Experts argued fiercely about whether contestants should switch doors, all because of a game show that changed TV forever.